Welcome to the Choosing Cheer podcast, the show about the joy of Jesus in all of life's moments. I'm your host, Nicolet Bell, and my hope is that you'll see his joy is not dependent on circumstances, but rooted in his presence. Let's go there together. Hey friends, welcome back to the Choosing Cheer podcast. I am so excited about today's conversation as we continue talking about choosing cheer in community. As I was praying and seeking the Lord and what we should talk about for this season, community just kept coming to my mind over and over again. And community is such a vital part of our lives as followers of Jesus. And as I was thinking about this season, I just kept thinking about the way food plays a part in community. And as I was thinking about food and community and faith and how all those things go hand in hand, I couldn't help thinking of our guest today, Melanie Roberson. Melanie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nicolette. Thank you so much for having me.
I am so glad that you are here. We are glad to finally be having this conversation. Melanie, for those who do not know you, let's get started by you telling us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm Melanie Roberson. I am a certified nutrition coach. I also have a certification in sleep, stress, and recovery. I have been married to my husband, John, for 26 years. We have 2 children, Maggie and Boone Roberson. We have 2 dogs, 2 granddogs. And we love to travel. My hobbies include running and exercising. I love to do yoga. I love anything outdoors. I love to hike. I love to snow ski. And my latest addiction is pickleball. Loving the pickleball.
Would you like to tell everyone why we could not record the first time we tried to record the podcast?
You know what? You want me to share? They can go back. If they follow me, they probably know. But crazy. We were the day before the podcast, the original podcast was supposed to record. I had a little pickleball incident where a ball hit me in the eye. And boy, it was black and blue. And I said, oh my goodness, I've got this podcast tomorrow. There's no way we can record it tomorrow. So here we are today.
So we are here today. That's
it's
right.
It's always in God's timing.
That's exactly right.
Perfect.
That is exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, Melanie, I have been following you for many years now, and we have lots of mutual friends. I have been blessed by you and what you do through your Instagram platform, Mel's Healthy Meals, and many a meal on my table have come from your recipes. And so I just love getting to follow along with how God is using you on your platform. So as I was thinking about food and community, you just came to mind as somebody who just embodies that so well. You help bring connection and community into my home through your recipes. In what ways do you think food just kind of goes with community?
Food brings us together. It's a way that we celebrate friendships. It's the way we, let's think about all the occasions we celebrate and we gather around food.
Right.
Weddings, birthdays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all of these events.
Even funerals. Yeah.
Funerals. Mm-hmm. We gather around food.
Yeah, that's right. They just kind of go hand in hand. And when I think about the life of Jesus, it's really apparent that food was a huge part of his ministry and his mission. When we look in the Gospels, it is everywhere. He is always having a meal, sharing a meal, multiplying food, talking about food, using it as an example in his parables. Food and community really go hand in hand in Jesus's community and the way we see his life on earth. What role do you think food and community play in following Jesus today?
I think, we could all just live by his example in the Last Supper. And if we could, I think about that he had so much to communicate before he was crucified. Brings kind of tears to my eyes. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he gathered his disciples together to have a conversation, to tell them, hey, this is how it's going to go down. This is what's going to happen. gathered them for his last meal, which was huge, through the bread and the wine and what those sacraments mean. But also, he taught us during that time humility in washing his disciples' feet. He taught us he knew who was going to betray him. Yeah. He knows everything. He knows everything. And so I think it's so important that we continue gathering. He said, continue doing this in remembrance of me. So we do gather in our churches and celebrate communion, but gathering in our homes and having a time where we can pray together and have communication with one another is so important. And I just know that that's how we're supposed to live, because he told us that right before he died.
That's such a beautiful example, Melanie. I feel like I've never really thought about the community aspect of the Last Supper, and that models for us what that's supposed to look like. And I love that you brought up that he knew the disciples were going to betray him. I was reading something last week about how well that models forgiveness for us. Yes. That him even being in their presence, like even inviting them to a meal when he knew what they were about to do. Like he knew exactly what they were about to do. And he just loved them anyway. He saw them in their human capacity, knew that they were going to fail, knew that they were going to mess up, and just loved them anyway. And that's the same thing that he does for us, and that we should do for one another in that community that he was modeling for us. It's just a really beautiful picture.
And it's a way, that we can serve others. He throughout the Bible, he's over and over and over the way you serve others through food. And I think about a recent trip John and I went on to when we were in Honduras, and I had the opportunity to go into the village and meet the families and go to their homes with the local pastors. We had a pastor, several members from our team, and we knocked on the doors. Okay, they didn't know us. Here were strangers coming to their house, knocking on their doors, and guess what we brought to them? Food. Rice and beans. And what happened then? They opened the doors, pulled up a chair for us. We sat and had conversations with them for at least 45 minutes. And we were able to share the salvation story. Many of them accepted Jesus as their Savior during that time. It was just an incredible, incredible time in my life where I was able to serve the poor and see the impact that had just by giving my time and rice and beans.
The food was the door. The door. Yeah, that's what opened the door for the spiritual conversation. That's really beautiful. And that's how Jesus used it too in his ministry. So that's so beautiful. So in thinking about that and talking about that, how do you intentionally build community in your own life? I know you talked about gathering people together, but what are some intentional ways that you build community?
You have to be intentional.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that word. And, I'm just guessing you have a lot of young followers your age, right? A lot of young moms with young children. I think back, when I was in college, I was in a sorority. So I had that community around me, right? And then when I graduated from college, I started working young, single, trying to navigate in this world, new job, new things, many times alone, right? I would find myself meeting the best of friends in two places, the church and in the gym. Okay? That was that during that part of my life. Then, I married and had young children, and then I was isolated again. So you find yourself taking care of babies, doing the hard things, not having time to fellowship with friends or build community. You're taking care of babies, right? Remember that?
That's right. That is right.
And And so then I tell young moms this, you start meeting your community after you have children, when they go to daycare, when they're in school, you become friends with those moms. But before then, I intentionally, ask God, surround me with people, surround me with friendships, surround me with like-minded moms. And I started serving in junior auxiliary. That was a beautiful time in my life. Opened up so many doors. You got to know the community of women through that. And now I just feel like I want to build community wherever I go.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go. If it's on the pickleball court, I want to have community. Let's get a group chat going. If it's now, it's my Instagram page. I feel like it's such a great platform to meet people from all over the world. And I have prayer partners from all over the world. Many I've never seen their faces. I don't know them except through communicating with them on direct message. Well, they'll seek and say, will you pray for me today? I'm having this issue. And absolutely. And many times I've asked for their prayers.
Wow. So just finding that community, whatever stage of life you're in, wherever
stage of life,
wherever you're at right then, just looking around. And I love that you said, you just prayed and asked God for that. I think so often we think our prayers have to be about really big things, but just that simple prayer of God, send me a friend, or God, surround me with godly women or godly people to surround me in this season. And I just think that's a prayer that He loves to answer.
Absolutely, He does. Another way that He blessed me was I have a group chat, and we're called the Prayer Warriettes. And there's 12 of us that have an ongoing group chat where we text our prayer concerns. And that group of women, many I've known for 20 plus years, but to have that support system, that's another prayer I asked for. And He's going to deliver that.
How does having that community, maybe in different stages, the stage you're in now, bring cheer or joy into our lives?
Just like you. Let's talk about you for a minute. You bring cheer and joy through your platform. There was a post that you posted when you were on vacation, and you could not wait to get up and have time with Jesus at 5:30 in the morning when you could have been sleeping till 11 o'clock, right? And you sharing that brought me so much joy. You can't help but want to just share that love for Jesus when He resides in us. And we just want to share and let everybody know. I want everybody to know how wonderful that is, to want to have time with Jesus, to take time out for Jesus, to hear His voice in our hearts, and to seek Scripture. I do that every morning. You do too, right?
Yep.
And so, I just can't help but share it. Many times I have had messages in my inbox of followers telling me to stop talking about Jesus, that they have come to my platform for food and not to hear about Jesus. What do you think that's an opportunity to do?
Right.
Pray for them.
Yeah.
I've even asked many of them, call me. I want to talk to you. Can we have a one-on-one conversation? Would love to talk to you. And I have been able to have great conversations with people.
That's amazing.
So, the same way that you do.
That's so good to think about it. And that's so neat to hear you say, like, hey, I identified with that, identified with what you posted there. And that encouraged me because I felt the same way about different things that you have posted. And this is such a good example of, I feel like social media, we can give it such a bad rap in the Christian community. It's distracting us. It's taking all our time. Yes, we need to put it down sometimes. We need to get outside. We need to go play pickleball. We need to do the things. We need to have face-to-face conversations. Yes, all of those things. But this is how God is using social social media. This is how he is advancing his kingdom through a digital platform that I truly believe was intended to distract us from him. But he's still going to work and move in ways that we maybe don't expect. And so this is just a beautiful testimony to me of how he is at work through social media. He really is. Okay, so you've kind of hinted at this a little bit, like we talked about seasons, but as a young mom, a working young mom in this season, just trying to balance everything, I find it really, really challenging to do all that's required of me with my job and then all the things that Josie needs from me. And we have a similar, background, Melanie, because my husband is in his fellowship. Your husband is a physician. You kind of understand the lifestyle that kind of comes along with that. But I struggle with balancing all of those things and getting a healthy meal on the table. So what advice do you have for those of us out in the trenches just trying to figure out how to feed our families and feed us something decent at the same time?
I can't wait to talk about this. Make it a priority. You are the captain of that ship. Your husband, you said, works a lot. So does my husband. Okay? That was always important to me, to gather us at the end of the day and talk to each other and have a communication. Ask my children, how was your day today? And, when they're young, I loved it. They would just talk and talk to talk. I would say, what was your high today? And they couldn't wait to tell me all their high. What was your low today? I remember my son saying, Jack hit. Jack hit. And so we had that opportunity to talk about forgiveness, right? What happened, So just having that time where you can sit and interact with your children and your husband and pray together over the meal. Pray for their challenges together. Remember, when two or more are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst of them. So having Jesus at the center of the table. Also, what is your why? Why do you want to gather? For me, it was always, I want to teach them about healthy foods because they were not getting it in the school.
Right.
Okay. They're going to always celebrate at school over donuts and birthdays and snack time and sugary drinks. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. So at home, I could teach them, hey, eating broccoli is going to help you run faster in soccer. Okay? Maggie, eating your chicken is going to help you do your tumbles and cheer. You got to have strength and muscles, right? I never serve soft drinks or sugary drinks at meals. And I learned that from my grandmother. Water was served at meals. We didn't have desserts after every meal because guess what? They were getting that at school.
Yeah.
How many times did somebody bring donut holes?
Yes.
How many birthday parties are they going to?
Yeah.
Right? I would encourage you to shop on the weekends, like stock your food on the weekends so that you're ready to go Monday morning. Teach them the importance. This is where they learn. They're learning at home, right? And, my children love all foods. And they'll eat any type of vegetable, all fruits. They drink a lot of water now. And that started when they were young at the table.
That's such good encouragement. I have, Josie's about to be 3 next month. She will be 3. And we are struggling in the eating department at our house. And so that is good words for me to hear. Just encouragement to keep it up, keep trying, keep showing up, keep talking about it, keep showing her, keep telling her, keep encouraging her.
I was in control of their plate when they were young, right? And even when they were older, there was a vegetable cooked at every single meal at my house. My children know to this day, if they come home, there's going to be something green on the plate. Okay? I never, ever served. Sometimes it might have been a grilled cheese, and that's okay. But there was cucumbers on the side or something green on the side, and I just kept that going. They might not eat it every time, but it was present on their plate where they knew the importance of it.
That's so good. That's what I needed to hear today. Maybe somebody else needs to hear that as well. Okay, so I have a couple of favorite recipes from you, but what is your favorite recipe? What's your favorite thing to cook that we can send people a link to from the show?
Okay, well, I do have to share this, and this may inspire somebody to this is my latest obsession, but then I'll go back to what's my favorite meal.
Okay.
But when I became an empty nester, I started learning new things just to, I wasn't in the carpool line. I wasn't doing homework. I wasn't sitting in the sporting stands watching them play sports. So I had free time, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, I want to learn something new. And I learned how to make sourdough bread. Now that is something, it is time consuming. I'm not telling you to do that now, but put that feather in the back of your cap when you do have time. Sourdough bread is such an amazing thing to learn how to make because it's so healthy for us, and it has just taken a life of its own. That's my passion right now.
Okay, so one of my best friends follows your page, and she has jumped on the sourdough bread train. Really? And so I'm a little bit, she does not have children yet. So she's been like doing that. Okay. And so I've been kind of watching her, but I actually almost messaged you and asked you, Melanie, so I have a gluten allergy. Can you do sourdough bread that's gluten-free?
Okay. So let me just explain that. So most people that have gluten sensitivities tolerate sourdough bread because of the way it's fermented. The sourdough starter that you use is highly fermented. It's great for your gut bacteria. I make a sandwich loaf I should give you this recipe because it's very easy to make, and I'll be happy to share my starter with you.
Okay.
But it's made with an incorn flour. It's the flour that you use.
Okay.
So it's easy to digest. Glycemic is very low. And it uses 200 grams of that starter, which means it's highly fermented with the best of the best of the best ingredients. And it's only 4 ingredients. So when I shared this loaf with friends that have gluten sensitivities, they tolerate it very well.
Wow. That excites me. I got to try this.
I could teach you how to make it very easy.
Yes.
That's an easy recipe.
Okay. Because I think for, a lot of times, I've been gluten-free for 7 years now, 7.5 years, something like that. And in the beginning, there was nothing that you could buy that was gluten-free. Well, now everything processed is labeled gluten-free this, gluten-free that. Well, I had cut all of that out of my diet. And then slowly as things have come out, it's like, oh, cool. Yeah, I'll eat gluten-free pasta or gluten-free bread or gluten-free Oreos or whatever, right? And so I was curious about the sourdough bread because also all of those things are very expensive.
Well, sourdough, you could try if you don't want to make your own. Make sure if you are picking out sourdough bread in a grocery store that you're looking at your ingredients. It should only contain sourdough starter, water, salt, and flour. That's all. The cleanest one that I have found at any grocery store is at Aldi. The ingredients are good in that one. But if you ever want to learn how to make this sandwich loaf,
I do.
I promise you could make it. It's easy.
I do want to try it. That would be awesome.
Okay, what is my favorite
recipe
to make? My favorite recipe. Oh my goodness, let me think. Okay, well, I could just start with this. So Mel's Healthy Meals kind of started with one recipe that I was trying to learn how to make, create. It was a different ingredient I had never used, a different vegetable I had never used. I should not say ingredient, and that's spaghetti squash. Mm-hmm. Do you ever make anything with spaghetti?
I do. I haven't in a little while, but I used to do a lot of spaghetti squash. Yeah.
Well, that's when I kind of started. I was like, wow, this is different. I was used to eating pasta. And so I love to make shrimp scampi with spaghetti squash.
That sounds delicious.
And it's very, very easy to make. It's one of my favorites.
Okay.
It seems to be a favorite for many of my friends because it's so easy to make.
Okay, I need to look that one up, and we'll be sure and share it with those who are listening today. And then I want to say my favorite of your recipes. Well, I actually have two. So I'm going to say two of my favorite recipes, and we'll link those two. So your vegetable soup, I love. Is that your grandmother's recipe?
Oh, my goodness. That one is my grandmother's recipe, dear to my heart.
It's delicious.
Yes. Tell me about what you love about it.
I love the cream corn.
Who knew?
It's a tube of cream corn that you put in there, and it just changes the consistency of the soup, and it's so yummy. So I'll vary what vegetables I put in it based on what I have, but that cream corn is a necessity.
Game changer.
And then I freeze some, and I'll pull it out. I pulled some out not too long ago that I had made a little while back. So we love your vegetable soup.
That makes me so happy. Yeah. It probably is my favorite because it's my grandmother's.
It's like got a special tie to your heart. And then I also recently have made your muffins with bananas, the banana oat muffins. Yeah. Love those.
Do you make that with oatmeal, or do you make the ones that I'm okay?
Oatmeal. Yeah, because they're gluten-free.
That's a favorite too.
Yeah, love those. Really great thing to have on hand. And just, you don't feel like it's a muffin. It's got a little bit of sweet, but it's not all this added sugar stuff to it. So I make those a lot.
Can you believe how sweet you can get a muffin with bananas and a little bit of maple syrup?
Yes. Yeah. I really couldn't until I made them. And then I'm like, these are delicious.
Yeah, it's delicious. Yeah. And I always tell my friends, look, if it's not sweet enough, you can always add a little peanut butter on top. And melt that in the microwave. Do you like peanut butter?
Well, Josie has a peanut allergy, so we are peanut free at our house. It's sad. I used to eat a ton of peanut butter because of my gluten allergy. I would eat a lot of peanut butter. But
well, you can sprinkle a little honey. Drizzle a little honey on top.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a very good idea. Well, Melanie, I have just so enjoyed our conversation today. Is there anything else you'd like to leave listeners with as we kind of wrap up?
I hope for those of you that don't know me, I hope you'll follow me on Mel's Healthy Meals. I just love meeting new friends on there. I love to share tips on food, faith, and fitness. And I love when people share healthy tips with me. I'm encouraged by all of my friends' tips, and just connect with me. If I can ever pray for you, send me a DM. I'm on my back porch every morning, 6 a.m., drinking my coffee. And I love to pray for people and share the gospel. And please follow me.
Love that. That's great. That's great. And also check out her website. She has a beautiful website where a lot of her recipes are housed. So that's always a good place for me to go back. If I can't find it on your feed, I'll go to your website and look and see what's happening there.
I'm glad you told me that because I need to update that one. I don't take the time to download all the recipes, but I need to.
Yes.
I need to hire somebody to do that.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Well, Melanie, thank you so much. It's been a joy to have you on today. And friends, we will see you back next week. Friends, it's my honor and privilege to get to spend time with you week after week. It is such a joy that you would choose to be a part of our conversation here on the podcast. You are such an important part of what we do. If you like what you hear, I would invite you to share it, pass it along, text this episode to a friend, like, rate, and subscribe to our show. What you do makes a difference. And remember, friend, we're cheering you on.